Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, MAGA threats are increasing and they're now targeting jurors. Of course, the threats against judges are increasing. So, here's the deal. Here's how this has been ratcheting up over the last month. According to a Rolling Stone article from earlier in August, there's been a spike in threats against Mike Pence, the former vice president. Also others, but mostly Mike Pence on social media sites. And it's particularly the one called Donald.win. The comments range from very benign things like traitor to, quote, I want to watch his toes dangle in the breeze. One user wrote, quote, I long for the day we the people pull these traitors out of their seats screaming, knowing full well what is coming to them and why it's coming. Another said, quote, humane execution should be off the table. Following the coup indictment brought by Special Counsel Jack Smith, law enforcement told Rolling Stone, quote, we are seeing an uptick in calls for violence right before and since yesterday's Trump indictment. Most of them are directed at the prosecutors and judge. We are tracking online chatter and calls for violence, looking for specific credible threats. One Getter user wrote, quote, Jack Smith just pissed off 200 million Americans with guns. Do you think he knows, I'm assuming it's a he, that there's 300 million Americans and that a lot of them are children? And no, you didn't piss off 200 million because Trump's base is a fraction of that 300 million. Anyway, they really have an overblown sense of how big their base is. Another person urged others to, quote, buy more guns. We're going to need them. And then some Trump supporters have called for the assassination of grand jury members. And then others say that Washington, D.C. needs to be destroyed and to, quote, burn it down. Then last week, MSNBC reporter Vaughn Hilliard, he went to a Trump rally. He interviewed Trump supporters, and he was told if Trump is convicted, there's going to be a civil war. That was all before this week's indictment, the one in Georgia. So now it's being reported that Trump supporters posted the names and addresses of the Georgia grand jurors online. And one user wrote, quote, these jurors have signed their death warrant by falsely indicting President Trump. One site contained the photos of people believed to be these jurors, and they were posted along with their names. And the posters claim that the jurors are supporters of various political figures from the Democrat Party. Now, remember, these are average Americans. These are people who received a jury notice, right? They showed up. They're just doing their civic duty. They're doing what is required of them. And now their lives are in danger. They are now at risk, and their families' lives, because millions of people in this country are in a freaking cult, and they can't understand that they put a criminal and stochastic terrorist in the White House. There's also been a barrage of threats against District Attorney Fani Willis, also Judge Tanya Chutkan, who's presiding over Trump's coup trial. I mean, you know, of course, they represent everything MAGA hates, right? Strong Black women. Well, now MAGA has ratcheted it up again. A MAGA woman has just been arrested for threatening Judge Chutkan. And this isn't her first go-round. This isn't even her first arrest this year for threats. 43-year-old Abigail Jo Shry of Alvin, Texas, is accused of calling the judge 2 days after Trump's arraignment in that August 5th, in the early August coup case, I should say. It was on August 5th that she left this voicemail. She, of course, used a racial slur. She threatened all Democrats in Washington. She threatened the LGBTQ community, because what that has to do with it, I don't know. And then she said to the judge, quote, if Trump doesn't get elected in 2024, we are coming to kill you. So tread lightly, bitch. You will be targeted personally, publicly, your family, all of it. And according to news reports, Shry also threatened Texas Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, again, another Black woman. But like I said, this is not her first go round. She had already been arrested 4 times this year for making threats. 2 of those 4 times resulted in a conviction. So she was already out on bond. She was already on probation, I should say, when she did this. So the FBI went to question her about these recent threats to the judge and also to Sheila Jackson Lee. And this woman admitted it. She said, oh, yeah, I called them both. But she said, I have no intention of traveling to D.C. or going to Houston, Texas, where Sheila Jackson Lee is. But she told agents, if Congresswoman Lee ever comes to my city, then you should be worried. So Shry is currently in custody. She's being denied bail, thank God. I mean, they're at least holding her for 30 days. I'm shocked to hear that they didn't just automatically throw her in prison and lock her up and throw away the key, considering that this is her 4th arrest this year for the same thing. But, you know, Texas, I mean, just a hard, tough on crime state, right? Yeah, it's those blue states. It's like New York, California that let people go with slaps on the wrist and encourage crime, right? Yeah, this is Texas. So at her custody hearing, Shry's father told the judge that his daughter is a, quote, nonviolent alcoholic who sits on her couch daily watching the news while drinking too many beers. He said she gets, quote, agitated by the news. Then she starts, quote, calling people and threatening them. I just find it very telling that so many people with addiction issues are Trump supporters. I'm just saying. I'm not saying there aren't other people out there with addiction issues who aren't Trump supporters, but he has a lot of them. A lot of them went to the Capitol on January 6th. All jokes aside, though, this is completely out of control. And it's not just Trump's doing. We have other Republican officials and media figures to blame for all of this, for turning up the temperature and for normalizing political violence. Understand, this is domestic terrorism. Earlier this month, Marjorie Trader Greene's new boyfriend, he's a media figure, his name is Brian Glenn, he warned that there will be a, quote, full-scale riot during the counting of the votes in 2024 if it looks like a repeat of 2020. And then Greene was recently at an event, and it was like a town hall. And when people in the audience started talking about, you know, the death penalty for their political rivals, she started laughing. Greene starts laughing hysterically. And then she said, quote, I think we're ending on the right note. Then, just last week, the husband of one of the indicted fake electors in Michigan, he told people at an event, people are going to get shot. And this isn't just some random spouse, this guy. This is the Michigan State Republican representative named Matt Maddock. There was an audio recording from an event that was held at his home to raise funds and awareness for people like his wife who are being arrested for literally alleged election crimes, right? So this event was at his home, like I said. Someone recorded what he was saying. It was leaked to the press. And Maddock is heard saying, quote, if the government continues to weaponize these departments against conservatives and the citizens that are then the taxpayers, you know what's going to happen to this country. Someone's going to get so pissed off, they're going to shoot someone. That's what's going to happen. Or we're going to have a civil war or some sort of revolution. That's where this is going. So when you hold people accountable for committing crimes, if those people happen to be Republicans, then it leads to civil war. We're going to have death and destruction in the street because Republicans are not supposed to be held accountable, apparently, in their eyes. Yeah, that sounds logical. That sounds reasonable and like Law and Order. Then, not done, there's more. Last weekend, Congressman Matt Gaetz, or Gig Cray as I call him, Gigantic Cranium Gates, the ultimate Florida man, he was captured on camera saying this.
We are having a great time at the fair. We love standing with you, but we know that only through force do we make any change in a corrupt town like Washington, D.C.
So I don't even think these craven SOBs care. I don't think they give a damn if they get people killed. That's where we're at. And we've got Democrats over here playing tiddlywinks. They're playing checkers and eating some of them. And these are Republican colleagues. Oh, my esteemed Republican colleague. No, psychos. My psycho Republican colleague. That is how you need to address them. It is time to stop playing these games, acting like this is 1980s political theater, 1990s, political games. No, these people have taken it to the extreme. They are extremists. They're out of control. They are literally inciting violence against everyone. Anyway, guys, when and if I hear more, I'll let you know. I said I think we're going to see some stuff go down, and I really do believe that. I believe, sadly, I hope I'm wrong, but I believe that before these trials are done, before Donald Trump's 4 cases now have been adjudicated, I believe we are going to see tragedy. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but I really fear that. All right. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Please please share this information with everyone you know so they understand what is going on, how serious this is right now. Please become a subscriber if you have not already. Please become a donor if you possibly can. Links are down below in the description box on YouTube and on the podcast, and I so appreciate it. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.